I was a beer drinker, you see. I drink wine like beer. Any questions? There you go. There you go.
One question. Are you three going to make an album together soon, or?
We did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not.
Okay.
We started it anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's not finished.
Snakes and Ladders, right. Oh, yeah, cool. I forgot.
Who's your favorite musician?
Yeah.
Oh, there's too many of them. There's too many.
Who are you listening to now?
Oh,
You like Heads Over Heels Over?
I like everybody. I mean, I like Keith Jarrett, Michael Brecker, Pat Metheny, Frank Gambale. I like them all. Let's go.
Jane, yeah, sure.
I just like, no, he's good, he's good.
What about stuff on like K-Rock or like, you know, Q104?
Some of that shit's good too.
Yeah.
Some of it.
Yeah.
You walk us through your signal chain, starting from the guitar.
Well, you know, this is all rental gear, so I don't even know. But I can sort of do. It's just split in two. And so the guitar goes into this preamp, and it goes into that limiter, and that one drives this little box that feeds the twin reverbs for the clean sound. And this little preamp's driving this power amp that's pushing these Marshalls. And I got a TC booster pedal there and an isolating transformer, because when you have all these ground problems and 4 different amplifiers, you get in a lot of trouble. So isolating transformers, I kind of was into electronics, so I made a bunch of my own boxes. And when you connect more than one amp together, you can have a real problem. So that's why there's all this shit everywhere.
That's fantastic.
But that's it really, it's just 2 separate setups, stereo lead, stereo lead.
I have a question that might be kind of a cluster of a bunch of little questions.
Okay.
I've transcribed your lines, and I think your line concept is completely unique. And I find when I transcribe guys like even Coltrane and stuff, I can usually sense either a system or kind of a bebop lineage where the lines are coming from. And with a lot of your playing, I sense a combination of a random abstract approach with a systematic thing, but it's neither nor. And I'm just kind
That's about right.
Very good.
But I don't know if this is something that's either is truly coming from an instinctual place for you, or if you're guarded. But I haven't been able to find any literature of you speaking about where you're really kind of honing in on some of these concepts, because it really is a strong concept. And I don't know if it's truly instinctual.
I have a concept about how I think about harmony, and how I think about chords, and how I think about lines, and I think it's just. I always wanted to be able to play over chord changes, but I didn't want to play. I didn't want it to sound like everybody else.
But on a specifically practical vibe, like when you're practicing at home, are you? No, but are you like when I'm working on lines, I'm actually slowing things down to where I can really hear where things are going, and I'm even singing some of my lines and stuff like that. I don't know if are you doing that kind of thing, or is a lot of things coming more out of fingerings?
I do it out of like I practice like really specific things.
Right.
And I just work on that one thing for a long time.
Could you
And
ever
I
give
try and
an
figure out a
example?
way to like get from one place to another place. You know, like chords move and.
I mean, mainly what I'm referring to is where you play over even one chord, like when you know.
Oh, the only thing worse than playing over one chord is playing over 2.
But you know, some of the things I'll see, it's not exactly a chord substitution. It'll be like maybe you're playing around the chord tones and stuff like that. And I'm curious if that comes out of some of the fingering things, or if you're actually trying to.
That comes out of like I always think. My father was a really great piano player, and he tried to get me to play the piano, and I didn't have it. You know, I just wasn't interested in the piano. I loved to hear him play it. I loved to hear other people play it, but it was tinkly or something. And I wanted a horn, and I wanted to play a horn, and I never got a horn, so I ended up with this thing and all this shit.
I had a question along the line of practice.
I didn't answer the question, did I?
What? Are you still not going to answer?
Well, let me have some more wine. That's me.
Hold on later.
Tough guy over here.
You're using your fourth finger in your right hand sometimes? Your baby finger? When you're picking?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did.
Wow.
A lot of guys don't.
Advanced human technology.
Did you have any approach to the countdown, the Coltrane song on your recent album? I was listening, you chose a John Henderson tune and countdown. I was wondering if did you go through any steps when you did
No.
that? Or approach
What I did is the same thing as I do with everything else. Is that like I don't know. I don't play lot of tunes. I don't know any of them. But like when they gave me the music for the tune, I just learned it as if I was learning one of my own tunes or some So I didn't think about what it was. I just analyzed the chords and played what I thought was okay harmonically with the tune. I didn't think about what anybody else did to it or anything. But they were all great tunes, obviously. But I didn't.
So is that to say you studied for a while before you did it, or you like learned it and then an hour later you?
No, I just figured out the harmony and then just made my own chart and knots and crosses and then tried to play on it. And it's as good as I could do, I guess.
How do you memorize all those
Great.
chords?
Thanks.
Will you be getting back to the East Coast more often since it's been so long since you last came over this way?
Good question.
I'd like to,
You've got a lot of
That'd be
fans
really
here.
cool. Not this.
You have a lot of gigs in Italy on your site, I saw.
Yeah, we got to talk to the guy about that too. I think we got too much driving to do.
Do you ever hear a
Too
song?
old for this shit.
Do you ever hear a song on the radio, Alan, that makes you stop you dead in your tracks and put you in another place in time, like your childhood, something like that?
Oh yeah, that happens to me a lot actually. I was coming back from the pub one time. I don't know if it was the beer or the music. I think it's both. But it was just something that was unbelievable. It was amazing, and I could never find out who it was. Because like radio stations in the old days, they used to sort of tell you who that was. Then they stopped.
You never got the title?
Yeah, so I couldn't find out who it was.
Can you hum it?
So I
Maybe
still
somebody in the
don't
room
know.
knows it. Sing it. Hum it. What's it sound like?
Hum it? You gotta be kidding. It was
Yeah.
25 minutes long.
Oh, it's a piece. Oh, I see.
What did you listen to growing up?
Well, besides my dad, I listened to he was a big classical guy like Debussy and Ravel. Debussy was like, kills me, man. That guy just kills me. I still cannot listen to Claire de Lune without losing it completely. I can't listen to it. If I think about it, I'll cry. It's unbelievable. The guy was insane.
How long did you play violin?
About 6 months. No, really, I didn't play it very long.
Did you study?
No, no. I just liked the violin, so I tried it. But it didn't like me.
Do you create your own scales? Is it?
I don't think so. I think they're all there. No, I don't. I have a different way of systemizing them and cataloging them, and I don't call them what everybody else calls them. Somebody says to me a certain scale, I don't know what it is until they play it, and when I hear it, I know what it is. It's just I have my own system of intervallic permutations. It's just a way of isolating. It's like he starts at the lowest note on the instrument and goes to the highest note, and then I just see the permutation of the intervals. So they make it. It's like, I can't remember phone numbers, but I can remember people's numbers by looking at the phone and know it, So it's kind of like that. So in other words, I'm just an idiot.
How do you approach your writing process?
I just sit down and play, improvise or something, and if something starts, then I'll try and finish it. And sometimes something will happen really quickly. Like there was one tune called Sphere of Innocence that was on One with the Tower album. And I wrote that whole thing in like a really short time. It's set for the middle section. And it took 6 months to finish that piece of music. But I don't have any set way of doing it. I just pick the guitar up and doodle around.
So do you think in terms of key centers, or do you just kind of open up the back?
Well, everything's in one. And I don't know, sometimes I don't even like talking about it because it makes my brain hurt.
Do you find yourself working with the studio a lot, just working up ideas, or just writing it down?
Sometimes I just look at it. I do, you know, I'm lazy. I'm really lazy. I'm a really lazy person.
These chordal sections, how much of that is written and how much is improvised?
Sorry?
When you're doing the kind of harmonic sections with the swells and the... kind
Oh,
of,
well, the tune is
it's in there,
written,
but some
but
of
the stuff that I do before that is improvised.
so that, are you conscious about the modulations and stuff, or are you just going with the
Well, I'm
process?
trying to just make melody out of, like, when I hear one note, where I want it to go to the next one. And it's like an instantaneous thing. It's like if I hear this one, I go, well, maybe it should go there, or maybe it shouldn't. And
that's the no-life line on top there,
the whole thing, the inside as well.
It's beautiful.
Thanks.
Do you have a process for constructing your chords, voicings?
No.
Wow.
Do you just grab random notes from...
Oh, no. That would be really cool.
Obviously, your sound has evolved over the decades, and from the '80s to the '90s. And where do you see your sound going? Is it matured, and are you happy with it, or do you see it going
I'm
off
not
in a
happy
different
with it. It
direction?
sucks.
Come on.
I'm not happy with it at all. And who is? Do you know somebody who likes their sound? He's lying to you.
I like it.
Do you see more syntax stuff coming down the line, or no? Is your
Well, yeah,
syntax
only in the
working?
studio though, because the instrument doesn't exist anymore. You know, I have two like really old ones, and one of them only works for about 20 minutes,
Wow.
and then that's a thermal problem, and so I need to keep going out to the bar and then coming back, and then it doesn't work. Basically.
What's the long?
Can you talk about working with Tony Williams and also the qualities that you look for in your rhythm sections? You've worked with a lot of great people.
I've been really, really fortunate. I've worked with some of the most amazing musicians, and they've all been the greatest people. You know, and you talk about Tony. I mean, there's not much I can say. But you know, we all miss him, of course. No, I just find, like, through word of mouth usually, if some guy, you know, find another guy and then we play together, and I just let them do their thing. I want them to be as comfortable as Tony made me feel in his band. Because the experience I got from Tony was, he never ever told me what to do anywhere at any time. So I'd be left in this hole going, well, what am I supposed to do? And eventually it was okay. And I like to do that for the people that work with me, you know, they play the tunes great, but I just like to have them express the music the way they want to express it.
Have you ever recorded anything with Jackal Pastorius?
No, I never did. I played with him though, but I never recorded anything with him. Jeez, man. Ouch.
You going to add a keyboard again soon?
Yeah, when we get more money.
Where's Steve Hunt?
No, I really miss playing with a keyboard player, because especially when you feel like I feel today, it's really good. Because I can just take a break, you know. It's like it's good sometimes to be able to do that, but with the trio, you can't let loose, you can't let go. You know.
What's your approach to practice been over the years?
Sorry?
What's your approach to practice been over the years since you started and then now? How has it changed?
It's the same. I have like 2 or 3 different ways. One of them is just like studying something, and the other one is just playing, and then the other one actually is like not with the instrument at all. It's just thinking about it. That's the fun part. Then when you go back to the guitar, you go, what was I thinking? Sorry?
Can you briefly speak about the guitar you play?
Well, I'm supposed to be playing a carving guitar today.
Yes.
But there was a problem with the pickup, so I'm not playing it. But this guitar was built by a custom builder from Northern California called Bill DeLapp. And he's made me a lot of guitars. But it takes forever. And this one was, I asked him to build this one in 1996. I think I got it just close to 2000. And on his business card it says, Bill DeLapp, luthier from hell, you get what you wait for.
Well, Jesus. That's worth it though.
Sorry?
How do you keep yourself from playing corny
It's all Connie, I thought. I don't know.
Just on a quick little technical question again. I noticed on your right hand, it seems like it's a combination between the alternate thing and there's some small, not gambale style, but there's small sweeps between two strings, say two downstrokes. Are you conscious of that, or is that something that's just kind of evolved? Or?
It just kind of evolved from just like playing stuff.
Right.
I don't think about it.
Right. So that's, yeah, right, okay. When you're practicing scales, you're more consciously up and down, or like if you just want playing through a scale, does it tend to be more alternate and then it's
Well, if
sort of
I'm just
line?
practicing the scale, and I'm just more thinking about the notes rather than what's going on here.
Oh,
And then later on, then I think about it if I'm trying to make melodies out of it.
Like the unmarried around, that pretty quick arpeggio thing you've got. Were you alternate picking that? Or was that?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I guess
A lot of old tunes,
I'll
I
rent the
play
video.
them and forget them, you know, it's like weird. It's just, but the gentleman.
No, so when you write, I'm just curious about your compositional technique. Like, when you write a tune, do you think of the chord progression first, or do you think of the melody, or what? Or and then when you do it, how conscious are you of form? Like when you have a form, do you stick with the form when you perform it, or do you let the form develop as you play it?
No, that's a good question. But what I usually do is that there's two ways. Sometimes I write the thing and it's just a chordal melody, like a chord melody, or it might be a melody and then I add the chords to it. But it's usually the chords. And then when I've got like a chord sequence that I like, then I have to try and figure out how I'm going to play on it. You know, then I try to analyze it when it's finished. And I never think about how hard it's going to be to do it, you know, because some people say, oh, well, you know, when you play your own music, it's kind of easy. But for me, I've never done that. Sometimes it's easier for me to play other people's music than it is to play my own, because if I write a tune, I never think about how hard it's going to be for me to play over those chords, because I'm just thinking about the harmony part first. And then I'll analyze it, and I'll look at it, and I'll go, uh-oh.
So like, I'm thinking, so if you do come up with something, is it possible, if in the playing it changes, do you go with the changes, do you just try to adhere to the original form? I mean, if you're playing something
usually,
happens,
to be honest with you, usually when I write a piece of music, it has no time at all.
That's
just like me.
You don't have a
But it
meter.
just has like it's just like it floats. And then I have to try and put it in packages, so they're always in like little groups or phrases.
Well, does it vary though? I mean,
Yes, it does.
Okay, so the composition won't be the same all the time. It might change in the process.
Oh, no, it stays the same.
Oh, okay.
Which brings us to your transcription style or skills. If we were to, had the daunting task of being presented with one of your charts to hopefully play with you, would we be horrified, or would be, do you like transcribe everything like to tiny little detail, or is it your system?
No,
It's like totally foreign.
I just play it to them. I just play the piece of music to them. And
So when they're looking at their
they made their own
they
charts.
made their own charts.
Yeah, because I don't know what's on there.
So when you played with Bill Bruford, for instance, that was he just played samples for you, or you played
Well,
for
he just
him?
give me like a tape of the melody or something, and I just go along.
Can we expect any more of that kind of stuff, like playing with other composers and collaborating?
Well,
Because
I'd like that. That'd be good.
we really like to listen.
Before I croak.
I look forward to it.
You'll never croak.
Some of my favorite playing ever of anybody.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You spend a lot of time practicing reading?
Reading? No, I just look at the pictures.
Yeah, baby.
Did you ever study traditional jazz harmony or any traditional music
No.
at all?
Thank
Nothing.
goodness.
So you started playing and created your own thing.
Well, I actually did borrow a clarinet a while ago, like when I was really young. And it was cool because it was the same register as guitar, and I found it really kind of easy to read on it, because when you see the note, it's here. And then you hit the guitar and you go, but it's here, but it's here, but it's here, but it's here, but it's here. And I just became dyslexic with it, so I didn't.
You use birch on some of the tops and backs, is that correct?
That's right, this one is too.
How did you arrive at that?
Through experiments, you know, the guy made me a few guitars.
What is birch?
I like it. Like, he made me some more like violin woods. It's an alder body, maple neck, ebony fingerboard, like a classic violin wood thing. And the first one was a spruce top and a maple back, but it was really bright. Then he made another one with a birch top and a maple back, and it was softer. Then he made another one with a birch top and a birch back, and I liked it. So I just stayed there.
Did Grover Jackson make you a spruce body?
He did, but it was a solid body.
Solid piece of spruce?
It sounded awful. It sounded, no, it was nasty. It just sounded really nasty. Basswood was the one I liked because it's soft. It just was spongy sounding. I like that.
Can you briefly talk about how you came up with the idea for the intro to the title track, Metal Fatigue?
Sorry?
The Metal Fatigue track, where it's got the distorted harmonized chord pattern. Can you talk about how, because it's so strikingly different from so many of your other, pieces of music. Can you talk about how you came up with the idea?
I think I was just tooling around with some gear and I played a chord and go, that sounds good. I mean,
What are the chords? Like
It's just like an A major triad, but it's harmonized and toned down.
Okay.
Are you ever angry that there aren't more women in the audience in shows?
Yeah, really.
I gotta hold my tongue right now.
What kind of pickup is that on that?
I just keep thinking about some of the other guys' comments, but I won't go there. No, it'd be nice to see more girls, obviously. Especially now I'm getting old, It's kind of
In the early 70s, we used to go to hear this group called If, that had guitar playing and Jeff Whitehorn. And he told us, there's this guy you should really hear play. And this was before we ever heard you play. It was like 73 or something. I was wondering if you knew him very well, because it might
Yeah, I do actually.
Probably you that he was talking about.
What's his name?
Jeff Whitehorn.
They were a good, nice group, too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. He's great.
Nice good one player.
How did you feel when Van Halen approached you? I guess about 80, 81, you were working at Marshall's, and it was after you left Rupert, and he said that you were one of his main influences.
Well, I mean, I was really flattered, at that time, I hadn't heard much of that before. He sounded amazing.
Did you do any right-hand tapping? It's hard for me to hear it on the W.
Yeah, I didn't know he did that, until I saw him.
You keep mentioning your age. I mean, you're getting older. It doesn't seem to affect your hand speed, though. Does it? You have conscious of that, or have any kind of?
I don't want to think about it. Actually, it does.
That's part of your
It
style.
does, actually. What are you going to do?
Have you ever had any wrist problems from that?
No.
Has anyone ever approached you, or has any of your music ever been used for any movie scoring?
Not to my knowledge, no. No, I'd love to do that, though. I mean, I love, for me, when I write music, I have like a picture or an image. And I like to put music to that, Or I'll come up with a title and it'll conjure up something in my mind and I want to do it that way. So I'd love to look at a series of events on a screen and write music to it. That would be great.
Eddie will have to hook you up on that one. He's hooked up with that stuff.
Obviously, too, with the level of ability you have on the guitar, there had to be a way to match the sort of chord resolution and all that kind of thing, which you do. There had to be a sort of many years of woodshedding and all that kind of thing to get to that point. So I guess you probably have a thorough study of harmony in such a way and many different approaches to reach that point.
Not really. I mean, I work on my own. I'm kind of a bit of a funny guy. I mean, I think I'm a loner or something. I don't know. My dad did something really funny. When all my buddies used to go out to the pub before I realized that beer was that good, I would come back and I would be, practice in my room or whatever, and then I'd go out with my mates. He goes, go out, go and have some fun. then I'd come back and my guitar would be in bed. So he was telling me something.
Do you think there's something about central England that sort of spurs innovations? There seems to be a lot of really innovative sounds and composition that comes out of there. Heather?
You got some weather too. No, I think music is geographical. I really believe that. And that, like, if you get people from certain places, the music can have sort of absorb. You become who you are. You know, you're just that person. So someone from here is going to have this thing, and someone from where I'm from is going to have that thing, whatever it is. It's just different. And like composers from the eastern part of Europe or wherever, you know, it's different. And we just recently went to Russia, and it was really amazing for me to hear the music that was on the radio. It was actually very beautiful, but it was very dark. And it was like, whoa. It was like heavy, like in a good way. But it's definitely, you're affected by where you grow up, I think, and what happened to you. You know, whatever happens to you in your life, I think it's part of
Yeah.
become.
You probably have some of the best vibrato I've ever heard out of anyone I've ever heard. It's just, did you grow up listening to a lot like Coltrane, Charlie Parker, that sort of thing? I mean, the vibrato is like very horn-like, you know, very. Did you listen to a lot of that growing up?
Yeah, I did, because of my father, yes.
The vibrato is just unbelievable. It's just so, you know, perfect.
What age did you start playing the guitar?
About 17.
When you play chords and move from one to the other, can you hear every single, do you really hear and feel every single note moving and where it's going?
Yeah, especially the wrong ones. Yeah, definitely.
Well, you gotta do
They
that.
hurt. They all hurt.
Do you have perfect pitch?
No, I don't. I don't believe there is such a thing, actually. I think it's just like the finely tuned, because like the way that instruments are tuned is not really correct anyway. Like if you take the frequency, or electronic frequency of an oscillator and double it and double it and double it, you don't end up with the same note. Or you don't end up with what we call, you know, these 12 tones. But I think it's just people's reception, or people's ability, like Alan Pasqua, piano player, he's unbelievable. Yeah, I could play a tune to that guy, and it could be fairly complicated. And he'll just play them back exactly as they were. Exactly.
How?
Pretty amazing. But he told me that it's not really perfect pitch. It's like a kind of a recognition.
Do you see sounds in terms of colors?
Yeah, he calls them colors, yeah. But I don't have it, so I don't know.
Do you sing any of your lines at all, or anything like that?
I can't sing.
Yes, you can.
Not right now.
In my mind.
No, I don't usually.
So you think there's a certain something?
Yeah, I do. Get it in my head.
So you don't think there's some things you're going for that are actually slightly random? You're always in control of what the note is you hear?
Well, I'm trying.
Right.
You know, if you're improvising, you're trying. The whole thing about improvising is you're trying to go from one place to another place, and not, you know, if you're going to play something you played before, then you're not improvising, right?
Right.
So, and everybody does that too. I mean, I do that all the time. You know, you fall back on something when you run out of, but it's nice when you get to that space where you can make the connections between the lines and the chords and everything. Yeah, I always crash into the wall.
Yeah, but you do have a gift for creating that abstract stuff that it doesn't sound like somebody just running random notes. Like there is some, whether you know it or not, there is some kind of system to the way you're playing. Which is beautiful logic.
Speaking of Alan Pasqua, how about a few lines from Protocosmos, your signature tune on the road?
What do you want to know about that?
I said, how about a few lines from Protocosmos?
A few lines?
Yeah.
Couple simple things.
Please.
That's all I asked.
You
There's
mentioned
only
Alan
4
Pasqua.
chords in the whole tune. Better than 2.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I'm sorry, mate.
No. My pleasure. I want to know, regarding intervallic relationships and permutations and all that, I was wondering if you'd ever run across or encountered books like the N.Y.C Thesaurus of Scales and Melodic Patterns.
Yes.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
And?
That's something you spend time with?
Yeah. No, it's
Really?
unbelievable. But the thing I loved about that book too is all written out enharmonically. There's no key signature. So it's kind of made it easier for a string player, I think. You know, it just made it easier to not think about having a key signature when the key is going to be changing all the time. It was just like, where there's a sharp, there's a sharp, where there's a flat, there's a flat. And I liked it. It makes sense.
So you do read music?
So,
You got them?
yeah, that's a great book.
It is wonderful. So you do read music?
That'll keep you busy.
So you do read music then?
Yeah, but really slow. You sit there all, you know, you're not going to put any fly shit in front of me. But I mean, yeah, if I sit in front of something long enough,
Right.
but especially if it's written like that, I can sort of get by.
You ever listen to guys like Derek Bailey, atonal players?
I know Derek Bailey, but that was a long, long time ago, and I didn't really hear that much of him. I know that he's supposedly really great, but I really don't know his music that well at all, so can't really comment. I'm sure he's awesome.
Are there any other books that you'd recommend for melodic ideas or chops or interval studies?
I think that one's pretty much it. You know, that was just about everything. It's called The Thesaurus of Scales and Melodic Patterns by Nicholas N.Y.C. It's like a phone book.
If you can find it.
Yeah, you can find it.
It's around.
What about the Guitar Grimoire by Adam Cadman? You know that book?
No, I don't.
It's
I'm
pretty
sure-
wild. I could never make that. I could never translate that book. I'm sure you could. That's another one. Guitar Grimoire. It's incredible.
I'll look for that.
We
Allan?
went tours with Chad and Jake, or fairly recently. Did you guys do some recording as well?
We did some recording in Australia with Chad when he was living there. He moved back to California. We recorded some stuff over there. No, it will, yeah. It's, actually, I just did a new compilation album of the last 10 albums because I got my albums back, the rights to them, so I made a best of. So it's like 2 CDs of like all of the last 10 records. And there's one of the tracks is on there from that session. So it's like a new track.
The next video out here, Chad's release will be this trio.
Yes. It will.
Any idea when that will be?
Sometime middle of this year, I hope.
Alan, what basic gear do you bring with you to get the tour? Do you pick up gear and stuff like that? What do you keep with you to kind of keep your sound
I keep these 2 pedals and this preamp and this EQ and all these little boxes of transformers and everything else is.
And what are those boxes up there?
Yeah.
The one what are they?
These are UD Stomps. I worked with Yamaha on designing this box, and they discontinued. It's just like I got a really cool thing. It's like if any company wants to lose money, they can just call me. You go like, hey, we'll get that guy to endorse it. And 6 months later, the thing will be, you know, gone.
So that helps keep your tone consistent when you do.
Well, no, their processes, they're not really affecting the tone at all. It's just, they're just like fairy dust. You know.
Do you play acoustic at home, and do you have, let's say, buddies that drop in that you play with that we might be interested in? Like, are you friends with John McLaughlin, or do they come over? People like that come over.
No, he lives in the south of France. He doesn't pop over very
It's a
often.
comedian, but, oh, I know.
No, not real. No.
So you don't have mates like.
I have some friends.
Play like that on a regular basis. Like that.
No.
And how about the acoustic guitar?
I don't own one.
You don't know one.
No. I'd like to, right? I always, if I get into trouble financially, I always sell the shit I don't need right now. So it's always the acoustic guitar. Sweet God. What are you not using today?
That guitar that you play with Gordon Beck on that stuff, you don't have that anymore.
No.
Was that set up specially at all? Was it really light strings or something?
No, it was a L5, an Ibanez copy of an L5, and I only had it for about 3 weeks.
Oh, that was not an acoustic guitar like a...
It was an acoustic guitar, but it was an F-hole guitar.
Right, really? Wow, it sounded...
That's what it kind of sounded like, they sound a little thin. I really want to get a McAfee copy, because I played with those. There's a guy in San Diego makes replicas of the original Solomon McAfee. And a friend of mine, or he's not really a friend, but he's a guy who plays in this club close to where I live. And the guitar is beautiful, yeah. It sounds so good.
So that's on diminished responsibility on that tune? That's an L5?
It's an L5, yeah.
Wow, yeah. It sounds more like a sound hole.
No, it's an F-hole.
I read on your site that you're working with a synth pickup for guitars. Is that right? Did I understand that right?
Well, I had one on the carving guitar, was using the Roland V8, or what it was called, the virtual guitar. I like that thing, it's cool.
What is the...
They don't make them anymore.
What's the measurement?